about 1976, back in the centennial days, bicentennial, but centennial in Colorado, I was walking down the street about a block from my house, and I saw this really interesting looking old garage. And on the front of the garage it said, tax strike. And I went inside and there were some crazy people in there. These people believed you didn't have to file tax returns. And it seemed sort of interesting to me. I was going, what is this? How could anybody think you don't have to file tax returns? At that point in my life, I started paying more attention. You know, it's like this was the first time I'd seen it. I thought these people were totally nuts, but very gutsy. And I picked up some information and studied a little. At that particular time, I ran into a fellow named John Granbush, who was probably too right-wing for the John Birch Society, and I was sort of left-wing. And I found out in the last 12 years that when the right and the left wing agree, there's a problem. And I think there is a problem. So anyway, what happened is, I was watching 60 Minutes a few weeks later, and I saw this deal about the Universal Life Church. How many people have heard of the Universal Life Church? Okay. Well, I thought, I was teaching 6th grade at that point, and I said, you know, this sounds pretty cool. I always wanted to start a church. So I wrote to Kirby Hensley and sent him $5 or something and got my packet and looked it over. And I said, well, you know, this is pretty neat, but I think it's got to be a little more complicated than this. So what I did is I started hanging around the law library, and I figured out how to set up my own church, and I set it up. And I had to fight with the IRS for an entire year to get tax-exempt status for the church. And they didn't, I was really angry about that because I could, you know, they harassed me to death with hundreds of questions. And by the way, I learned a lot during that period of time, and it's helped me to be very successful on the church issue since then. However, they immediately attacked me. There was a big article in Westward newspaper in Denver because I sent out a news release about what I was learning, and they published an article called Taxing the IRS about me, and a week later I got an audit notice. And that's when I started to wake up. There was an agency of the federal government that was auditing me because I opened my big mouth to the media. And I had no idea what I was in store for. I went into the audit, and I was pretty scared, you know, in those days. Because I didn't have any experience with this, and I'd always heard that the IRS would, you know, beat you up and spit you out if they ever called you on the phone or anything, you know. So I went in, and they decided to disallow everything, and I went to some attorney, and he wanted $2,000 to comply with the audit. So I just got totally fed up with it and just quit going to him. And just told him I wasn't going to comply, and I didn't know what I was doing at that point. Well, I'm not going to go into the whole story because I only got, you know, a short time to speak tonight. There's a lot of interesting facets to the story. But 6 published wins in the 10th Circuit later